welcome back to Worlds 2020 for what could be the final game of the play-in stages. Unicorns of Love 2-0 up versus SuperMassive. I'm Medic, this is Ender. We've been here all along. Why haven't you guys been here? You've been missing out. It's been great performance from the Unicorns so far, especially Nomanz on his Kassadin in the last game.
His Kassadin was sick. It was nasty. It was too much for SuperMassive to deal with, and I feel like we've seen it a couple times now, where we have these fights around the 10-minute mark inside the river at a Drake, and SuperMassive, who were winning the early game, it gets spun completely around on them. So you come into this draft, and SuperMassive, I believe, did end up choosing the red side to return to that side after game one, but this isn't a situation where I think you radicalize the draft and you completely change that. This is a situation where you need to clean up your play in-game, because SuperMassive is a good team fighting team. They just have not been showing it on the day.
And it's been difficult because the Unicorns have been so willing to take skirmishes, so willing to take fights when they're at a disadvantage. You look at the last game, they were 2,000 gold behind when they took the fight in the river, and they were still able to find their mark, able to find their man, and get those kills. Ornn banned away here by the Unicorns of Love on the blue side. Renekton removed from boss. He had a pretty strong performance on the last game, even if he wasn't the key carry for the Unicorns.
Yeah, I think he had a great time up in the top lane in a matchup we were expecting coming in. Like, we know Boss is a good player, but Armut has been playing like a god in play-ins. You know, we was really expecting to see him pop off, but that just has not happened. Has not had some great matchups in the top lane, and it just really has not been about that area of the map. It's been about the jungle. It's been about the bot lane too, with picks like the Twitch and the Ziggs absolutely popping off a couple times in a row for Gadget.
So the last time we saw the Unicorns on the blue side and SuperMassive on the red, Unicorns got rid of Azir, Hecarim, and Ornn. SuperMassive removed the Renekton, the Orianna, and then the Camille as their final ban. I wonder if we'll see the same, because that did allow Unicorns to get the Nidalee, which was so impactful.
Exactly, and I'm not sure that SuperMassive have to change it, because, again, in game one, they were playing that heavy dive composition, and they chose bad fight, they got split up, that's where things went wrong. So the bans will stay the same here, just flipping the order of the Ornn and the Azir like we were talking about. And Nidalee, as you mentioned, was the first pick, and of course, that's going to be the same thing again. Now, I would expect to see Misfortune coming a little later. Like, the Lillia does make a lot of sense, but I do think there is potential to try and get a more powerful 2v2 in the bottom lane, save that counter pick, because it's been a couple games in a row now where Gadget has seen what he's going up against and then has the perfect answer for it.
Now, speaking of power in the bottom lane, we saw Zeitnot in the final game versus Mad Lions really have a strong performance on this Caitlyn. He's going to bring it out here in what could be an elimination game for SuperMassive.
And this could potentially set them up if they wanted to pair up the Morgana with the Caitlyn again. That would heavily de-incentivize the Zoe to come through in the mid lane. Of course, for Nomanz that he played in game one to great effect here. So with the Wukong being locked in, presumably going to boss up on the top side of the map, it still leaves room open. We probably need to see Gadget on a physical damage champion, because of course, usually you're going to see 2 and 2 split between your 4 carry roles.
Of course, Nomanz could take something physical in the mid lane, depending on how things go through. But we'll see now where the Unicorns want to go with their next pick. An AD carry here makes a lot of sense. Instead, they say, okay, the Azir didn't really work into the Kassadin last time. They will, in the end, decide on the Jhin instead of the Kassadin.
Yeah, offering some longer range engage options here, I think is a really good idea. And when you see a Caitlyn on the other side, your 2 options are usually going to be either the Jhin or the Ashe. We did actually see Gadget playing Orianna a little bit earlier on into the tournament, but of course that champion was banned, so Jhin is going to be the next best thing for them. And this also means that Nomanz does get to wait on that bot lane champion, or on that mid lane champion, and I think the Morgana here would set up SuperMassive really nicely if they wanted to play heavily for turret plates in the bot side early.
Instead, they decide on the Sett. Of course, can be support, can be mid lane for Bolulu, and then what the Sett does do is if the Wukong tries to get onto that back line, you use the showstopper and you yeet him on out of there. You chuck him as far away from the fight as possible. And then open up that Caitlyn just to be a little bit more safe. SuperMassive looking at their first ban here. Maybe we'll just want to get rid of the Kassadin. You know, Kassadin, Nomanz, even even in bad matchups, Nomanz seems to have a wonderful time on it.
Yeah, they do not want to deal with that one anymore. And now it's a bit interesting here for Armut, because he could decide, you know, he played the Sett in the past, if this Sett, or the Malphite rather, in the past earlier in this series, and it didn't quite work out for them, but it would give them the heavy engage that maybe they are lacking just a bit. SnowFlower still can lock in the likes of a Leona or a Thresh if they want to. The Morgana, I think, is a good ban to to come on in. And the Thresh is a champion that I thought we were going to see a lot more of with SnowFlower in play-ins, but we just haven't seen picked a whole lot.
I think a lot of that is because you're looking to your support for a little bit more teamfight engage. Like, Thresh is great for pick engage, Thresh is great for pick engage and for safety on your AD with the lanterns, but you're really only hooking one person. The hook is pretty telegraphed. Things like the Rakan and the Leona would be my pick for SuperMassive here. Put SnowFlower back on one of those and see if he can weave his way into the backline, because alongside a Sett, Rakan is actually super strong. As soon as Sett's going forward, you're there. Easy to land your knockups, easy to land the quickness.
I almost wonder if we could see a Bard pop out as a range support to match with the Caitlyn. Also works really nicely up against a Jhin. You can cancel his ultimate out and pairs really well too, I feel like, with a lot of the CC options you have in the sleep from Lillia.
I would like the Bard. It is going to be Leona instead. A little bit more long-range engage. I was actually going to take back a couple of my words about Wukong, because although he's good in team fights, with a Caitlyn, she outranges your battle dance. So she's like, you have to be very
really
coordinated
awkward
with your AD carry. They have to stand a little bit closer than their auto attack range to let you dive on out. Unicorns now, though, looking to their support and their mid lane, and they still, well, they do now know that that Sett is probably going mid. Could, of course, go top for Armut.
Yeah, okay, as far as supports are concerned, the Braum does make a lot of sense to come on through and play back a little bit more for the Unicorns of Love. Again, this is a little bit more akin to their Game 1 draft, where they had a few more disengage options, wanted to play off the range advantage they had against SuperMassive, and when you see 3 melee champions on the other side, sure, Caitlyn can hit you from a mile away, but the rest of the team can't necessarily do the same.
We don't say anything till it's locked.
We just wait. We see what happens.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
I love it.
What?
So this Vayne pick is going to be following Sett wherever it goes, because Sett now is either confirmed in top lane or mid lane, and I think you're just going to put it in whichever lane is best. Wukong can go into the opposite one here if they try to mix things up, because I don't think Vayne wants to lane into the Vladimir, or whatever does end up getting locked in here for SuperMassive. This is a bit of a wild pick now, and if you go the tank route for Armut, like again, this Vayne can have so much value. Now there's a lot of CC that can be thrown her way, and that's not the easiest thing to deal with in the team fights, but in terms of her tank shredding ability, that is insanely powerful, and she has the tools to try and dodge away from some of the more predictable CCs.
But who is going to pilot the Vayne as well? Like, do you put it on your mid laner? Do you put it on your traditional AD carry player? There's so many different options here for the Unicorns of Love. Currently, it's Santa's on it, but I assume they're going to switch that over to Nomanz, with Gadget being the Jhin. So, the Vayne following the Sett around is the expectations. There we go. Swapped over right at the final moment.
The Unicorns of Love are the most flexible team in planes. I was doing a quick check right here. Nomanz has played it once this year. I see looking that one up. So he will be taking that again, likely again, I think, following that Sett wherever it does end up for the good matchup. And this is spicy. This is spicy. They're up 2 games, so they say, hey, Nomanz, they banned away your cast, and we're going to give you Vayne, another champion that is going to be really, really hard to deal with and do insane amounts of damage in this game.
I mean, you say he played it once this year, because I was looking it up as well. It was in February that he last played Vayne. That is a long time ago. Vayne, of course, was slightly buffed on 10-19. Had 10 extra damage, I believe, to the final hour. The ultimate, yep. So it is a little bit of a buff, and it does work well into tanks, of course, because you have the silver bolts for your true damage. You can get Ginsus for those extra procs, but the name of the game is Vayne here for the Unicorns of Love.
And I do want to praise Unicorns of Love's drafting, because I'm really excited to see how this Vayne does end up panning out. But I think one thing that they value above almost all else is range when they consider their drafts, because we've seen against really low range compositions in the past, which again we're looking at with SuperMassive here. They picked the Swain in the bot lane. When you have to dive into the Swain completely destroys anything you're trying to do. Now with a lot of beefy frontliners stacking up HP, building armor, Vayne operates in a very similar route, a little bit more single target focused, not necessarily the sustain absorption, but in terms of cutting down a frontline with a Nidalee heal for the attack speed on top of you, she is going to be pretty deadly.
It's going to be really interesting to watch, because at the start of that pick and ban, you said usually you go 2 AP, 2 AD. You get that mixed damage profile in. And the mixed damage profile here is not AP AD, but AD and true damage coming out from the Unicorns of Love. Vayne, of course, we've seen her pop off so many times in the past, but we've also all had our fair share of Vayne spotting. And Unicorns of Love will be looking for some of those Dragon skirmishes to get this Vayne ahead.
Yeah, there's just going to be a huge spotlight on the Vayne in this game. Obviously, because it's a pop-off pick, but also because it's not an easy champion to pilot in these team fights. Said, yeah, you know, it outranges for the picks on SuperMassive's side, but again, there's a lot of CC that can be thrown their way, and Zeitnot will always have the range advantage up against the Vayne. So you not only have to position against the enemy front line, but make sure you're not in a range where the Caitlyn can actually start trading blows against you too.
Before we dive on into it, I just want to say, respect to Nomanz, FPX Vayne skin. If you're going to crack anything out of the world stage, like alluding to the fact that you want to win the title is pretty cool. So Nomanz picking the right skin for the game, you have to feel. KaKAO started on the top side. He will work his way down towards the bottom lane. And I would love to see him get some early ganks down there because SnowFlower actually has an extra combat summoner with the exhaust to only the cleanse on Gadget.
I was just going to say, you know, Vayne skin with a unicorn horn might look pretty nice. A little pink action there. 2020, we'll see what ends up happening here. But yeah, with the cleanse, of course, being run by Gadget, he needs that against the Solar Flare from long range. Otherwise, you have to itemize into an early QSS. And again, when there's a sleep on the other team too, you gotta be worried.
You have sleep, you have the Solar Flare, you've got the cupcakes that you can gobble up as well. There's so many different things. That
Never
you
eat the
to get away from
cupcakes.
them. I have had that recently, been on a diet, been trying to lose weight. Cupcakes are the bane of my existence. Very difficult to deal with. Nomanz getting the push early on as expected. You know, ranged into melee, he's even gone for the cull. He knows that he's just trying to farm himself up here. Will probably be running cut down on this Vayne because he's dealing into a bunch of tanks, which means the cull actually just gives you more flat damage.
Ooh, I like this move from AHaHaCiK. If he wants to come down bot side, level 2s have been achieved here. The flash forward catches Zeitnot.
Winter's Bite hits one. There's the heal as well. SnowFlower with a good block. Means that Zeitnot's not rooted up, and here comes the counter heal as they look to re-engage, but SnowFlower unable to find the stun on AHaHaCiK.
Nice patience from the unicorn jungler right there. Realizing KaKAO could be in the area. Starting on the top side, pathing down, will not overcommit to fight. But what this does mean is that Scuttle Crab will once again be secured by KaKAO, and Armut pathing down into the river. We'll see that a ward is placed and potentially open up that top crab.
He got the push onto boss.
They've got 4 people in mid lane. They're looking for the gank.
KaKAO's here. Nomanz has the cleanse, has the flash, has the tumble.
What?
There's the swell seed. KaKAO gives the game away. Doesn't have sleep. Can't do much more. Nomanz says, hey mate, I'm just going to walk away from this one.
It's a little bit awkward right there. SnowFlower Hex flashing the wrong way. I think they called off the play and said, it's going to be hard to gank this guy. Let's go for the Scuttle Crab instead. But there still may be a fight.
AHaHaCiK looking for the steal. The spear misses, and AHaHaCiK secures it. Boss coming in from the top lane as well as Armut's trying to chase him away. KaKAO's going to have to flash out of the back of the Herald pick. Gadget's going to land the root here, has the 4th shot. Primed and ready to go. And shouts it out as he hits Zeitnot. But actually, Zeitnot, if he'd hit that last headshot, would have had a very advantageous trade.
Yeah, pretty even trade overall is now AHaHaCiK pathing back through mid lane once again. The junglers are just laning with the mid laners for the time being. And oh, that's actually really cute.
Made him miss the cannon.
I love that. You can reposition the Haymaker right there. Of course, will mean a big deal later on in like 1v1 fights to make sure the true damage or even any of the damage doesn't hit. But to deny the real range spell that is used to farm the cannons, that's brutal.
KaKAO's going to try and put some damage down onto AHaHaCiK, who was looking for a bit of invade. SnowFlower here, 2 procs on the concussive blows. The Unbreakable comes out, but Santos didn't listen to your advice. He ate a cupcake, and for that, he takes a headshot from Zeitnot.
I think he was force-fed that cupcake. That wasn't really his decision right there. He was already CC'd. And
it's just like when you go to your grandma's house, she just keeps putting cupcakes in front of you the
and you can't
time.
say no, because then she feels bad.
She's your grandmother.
She's a lovely lady. You just can't do that. Shout out to Grandma. Anyways, Nomanz back to farming in the mid lane here with that cull like we mentioned earlier. And as far as these junglers are concerned, they're still continuing to live around mid. This time it's just stealing away the Scuttle Crab with no, or the Raptors rather, with no gank opportunity in mid. But I love how Nomanz is holding the wave in front of this tower.
Yep. Even chucks out the dabbing penguin just to remind us all that his emote game is on point. As we are 5 minutes into this game, we haven't had any real action yet, and I do want to remind people at home just how important this game is for the Unicorns. 1 win away from making it to groups. As an organization, they have never done that. They have never got to the World Group stage. They've been a series away on 3 separate occasions. Last year, against Splice, they went 2-3, and were just knocked out. Here, they are in command and control of the series. And for the first time since 2016, we could see a CIS representative on the group stage.
They are cruising for the time being. And SuperMassive gonna have to put up a big fight against Unicorns in this game. Again, creativity popping up with the Vayne in the mid lane, but this is a much more calm early game than we've seen in a little while, and I think there's a bit too many ranged minions here for Bolulu to actually set up an effective freeze. Nomanz will just ward the bottom side of the river and play towards that angle, especially with the AHaHaCiK in the area. But Armut's trying to do the same thing up top lane. There is no level 6 on KaKAO, so the ganks aren't great until he reaches that point. But now Armut will have a little bit more to pack the punch, and with seeing the Nidalee down bot side, it means there's no opportunity for a counter gank.
And I think you kind of expect this game to be a little bit more tentative from both the teams, a little bit slower because firstly, level 6s for SuperMassive are their big power spike. You know, you get the Showstopper, you get the Unstoppable Onslaught from the Sion, the Pain Train, you get the Lilting Lullaby. That is where SuperMassive will want to fight. But also, they might be a little bit apprehensive in fighting because if you make a mistake in a mid-game fight versus the Unicorns, we've seen it in the last 2 games, they will just take the game away from you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you get trained to be hesitant, you know, after having those stumbles in the same positions time and time again. SuperMassive are taking things slow at the moment. Now KaKAO may actually be looking for a topside play. If he pops this, he's probably not going to end up going for it. We'll just see the enemy blue buff. But I actually really like how Unicorns are itemizing too, with very early boots, the Berserker Greaves in mid lane as well. When you're playing against low range comps, melee comps in your range, just be faster than them. They're never going to reach you, and you're going to be having a really easy time to get to your item breakpoints.
Bolulu here trying to gain some control with SnowFlower, but isn't going to be able to manage it for the moment. SuperMassive, a mountain in front of them, but they have shown us before how willing they are to take fights, to fight back against teams that put them on the ropes. And with a Caitlyn, you have great scaling. You know, Zeitnot consistently in the TCL was this guy that would carry the team through the late game. He's looking to do it
sensing a mid lane fight, SnowFlower goes in.
He dives in, the sun's going to land on Santos. Here's the Unstoppable Onslaught, the Ace in the Hole comes out as well. There's the base breaker, Santos low, but not quite low enough. SuperMassive dive 5 members deep, and now KaKAO's being stunned up. Watch out, eat first blood over to the Unicorns, and the curtain's open. SnowFlower's the next target. Armut trying to tank up these shots from the curtain call, and will keep SnowFlower alive.
The Unicorns keep finding this fight time and time again, and once again it is Nomanz to get the kill off the back of it. The stun may well fall onto Bolulu. He's pretty tanky, so he's able to walk that one off no problem, but immediately out of that kill, that first blood in the mid lane that Nomanz picks up, it's going to be the Rift Herald on top at 8 minutes. That's going to be more and more gold, so while it is close now, SuperMassive, they gotta just be kicking themselves after a play like that. Yeah,
they're just looking for the engage onto Santos, but he's one of the tankier members of the Unicorns of Love. They don't have any, like, true tanks. The best they've got is a Braum. But he is just so darn difficult to kill with the Unbreakable, with the Flash, with the heal. Does mean Unicorns have used those summoners in the bottom lane. Only the cleanse remains for Gadget, so if SnowFlower ticks over to the 6, perhaps they can find a pick.
Yeah, and it's critical when we look at team fights in this game, because this game, not blown open wide just yet. The important thing is Unicorns of Love, their backline, super reliant on having their flashes, having their cleanses up. Both Nomanz and Gadget are going to be rocking the cleanse because, I mean, SuperMassive can get to you without the flash. You know, Lillia's going to be able to reach you. Sion obviously going to be able to do the same, and SnowFlower, especially once he accesses level 6 for that solar flare, is going to have that too. So if SuperMassive can force a fight, even if there aren't any casualties, as long as they get those summoners and don't lose too much in the process, they're going to be looking to punish in the next 5 minutes.
There is also a really nice itemization option for SuperMassive. Ninja, Harvey. All of these guys auto-attack you. Just stop them from auto-attacking. Stop the Vayne, stop the Jhin. You reduce so much damage. And of course, it's not going to mitigate all of the damage. It's only 10%, but it helps you out to such a great degree. You can see Bolulu has already said, I'm going to invest in these. I'm going to get myself a pair of boots and stop the extra damage that comes out from the Unicorns.
All right, so Cloud Drake is still up. Neither team has put too much pressure on that just yet. KaKAO's going to have to get the honey fruit on this one. He does take a little bit of damage inside of the jungle. No boots completed for him yet, so it's a little bit more difficult for him to navigate in these fights. KaKAO is a little bit interesting as a Lillia player, whereas a lot of people will go for the swiftness boots. He really likes to get those lucidity boots for the extra CDR. It's a little bit more difficult to itemize into CDR on the Lillia, because of course, outside of your Runic Echoes, you're going to be going into Leondaries, and then maybe eventually get yourself a Zhonya's Hourglass or something of the like, but not really going to be able to reach that 40% mark that you'd like to be able to spam out those balls all day long.
The Unicorns are now the ones to gain control of the spot side jungle. Look at how many wards they have. Like there's a control ward in the lower side bush in the mid lane. There's a ward in the pixel bush. There's a ward in this bot lane bush. There's really not that much control at the moment for SuperMassive. KaKAO's going to try and change that. SnowFlower's still only 5. 3 levels behind his AD carry, and that solar flare is so important as boss fights in the top lane. Armut does have the unstoppable onslaught, but he's going to get caught in the double cyclone. Tries to get away, but the pain train is met at the station by the monkey. Boss dives forward, flashes in. One more shot is enough. Boss gets a solo kill in the top lane.
Oh, and Armut can't reach it. Boss said, why is everyone hyping up this guy in the top lane? He hasn't faced me yet. Gets that solo kill on the Wukong. Beautiful stuff, and now we have to find the bot lane.
SnowFlower knocked up with a Glacial Fissure and taken down by Gadget. 3-0 now to the Unicorns as they look to dive this tower. AHaHaCiK, the one tanking, means they will just back away. Santos takes another turret shot for good measure. Nomanz dodges away from the face breaker, but KaKAO is here. Looks like he's just going to help out his mid lane to get some push.
Unicorns are tightening their grip on this one, and KaKAO desperately runs towards mid, but they can't find a play. Now a teleport comes into bot lane, but Armut, he doesn't have an ultimate. He's just here to try and defend the tower, but he doesn't get it. 95 HP. It'll still cut through 2 turret plates and donate 320 gold over towards the Unicorns.
And we've gone from being a slow game to Unicorns now taking a 2,500 gold lead. Yeah, it's only 3 kills, but you've got an Infinity Edge on your Jhin. And when you're winning out trades, when you're half HP...
I mean, the thing, right, he gets Armut to tank tower, so the second the damage from the Sion comes through, he's able to knock him up underneath the tower and apply a bit of damage. He follows the flash almost instantly. Bit of a spectator bug, but he's able to hop out of that one, no problem. Sion will not be able to close the gap right there. And, I mean, itemization-wise, it's still looking good for Armut, because, again, Boss sidestepped the Trinity Force to go for his Tiamat a little bit earlier on, but that's exactly what you want to see. And now a level lead for that Wukong. Level 11, we know, can be really, really powerful in team fights.
Yeah, because we went from Armut having like a 20 CS lead and pushing him underneath the tower to now Boss getting that kill. A kill usually about 15 to 20 CS worth of gold. And he is on his way to the Triforce. Also, Cloud Drake was picked up by AHaHaCiK, so Unicorns of Love have their second objective on the map as they use the Rift Herald down towards that bottom lane.
This is where I want to see Bolulu's teleport is about to come up. He has ultimate, and there are 2 deep wards that SuperMassive can use to flank into the bottom lane. You would see them all the way pushed back there. This is where the play needs to come through before Boss's TP comes up. You have about a 30-second window where they can pull the trigger. Unfortunately, Armut cannot join in the play because he wasted his bot lane a little bit earlier, but KaKAO is in the area, and this is the time to strike.
Solar Flame on Gadget, there's the cleanse. Gadget still has the flash. TP behind coming in as Bolulu looks for the flank position. Showstopper only onto Santos. SnowFlower coming in with a Shield of Daybreak underneath the tower. Santos taken low. But it's just overforced. SuperMassive didn't even burn the flashes from Gadget and Santos.
It was exactly the right play, but the execution was botched right there. They call in the TP before, you know, Lillia can really get into the area. SnowFlower doesn't exactly execute on the ultimate there either. So now, not only do they lose a TP and they fail the gank, they're also going to lose critical damage on the mid lane tower.
Oh, AHaHaCiK fails the jump, gets onto the blast cone, is immediately put to sleep. Stopwatch going to stop the ace in the hole from channeling, but AHaHaCiK will fall here. SnowFlower gets him with the Zenith play. Bolulu almost goes down. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Armut charged his way in, misses the decimating smash, or charges it up for longer as he knew that Nomanz wasn't in range.
All right, AHaHaCiK getting a little bit too deep and comfortable inside enemy territory. SuperMassive are able to punish that one. Unfortunately, Zeitnot not able to pick up an assist on the play. This turret very close to going down, but I think Unicorns are going to be able to hold on to that one. Armut had to path up into topside to be able to pick up that wave as Boss does close the CS gap, but that's the play SuperMassive needed because it was all about to fall apart after that bot lane play, but they do get donated a kill, which makes losing this tower feel a little bit less bad.
Yeah, still a 3,000 gold lead for the Unicorns, but a kill in your back pocket definitely helps. You see AHaHaCiK here, spotted with the control ward, and just fails to jump over the wall.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really jump over that wall. You got to commit the flash to that one if you want to get through. And stopwatch buys some time, but ultimately not enough to stop him from dying. Bolulu almost did fall in that play. And now, Unicorns Love, they don't slow down, so it is one slight misstep, but they have the 4 highest gold players of the game are all on Unicorns, and it's only going to get worse with this Herald.
Gadget 1,000 gold ahead of the highest SuperMassive player. Nomanz the same. It is so difficult. These are, I mean, it's the gold on the key targets as well. Your Vayne and your Jhin are getting fed, and that is the important thing for the Unicorns. They get their second Rift Herald of the game. There's an Infernal up in a minute 40. KaKAO's getting forced out here. This is a 2v1, and Nomanz is chasing him down. Teleport flanking in. Bolulu looking for the face breaker, goes in with a showstopper to start it off, facing the whole use as well, and Nomanz might have stepped a little bit too far. Cleanse popped on him in the end, but he will pop first. Boss jumping in, trying to get onto KaKAO, who flashes the wall, and now Boss is exhausted. Boss is caught out, and perhaps this is what SuperMassive needed because they get another kill. Boss goes down, KaKAO will fall as well. 2 for 1 in favor of SuperMassive.
Armut can't enter the fight. He doesn't have a teleport. There's a Rift Herald in mid lane, so AHaHaCiK is just trying to delay as Gadget comes around the flank. There's no tower here to defend. It is a 3 versus 3 if Unicorns want to commit.
No cut and call for Gadget. He used it earlier on. Deadly Flourish will find Bolulu, but there was no tick damage on him, so the stun will not land.
Once again, it's a story where SuperMassive, they find the kills. These are critical kills. They need these kills, and they're going to get the tower in top lane. So overall, this is going to be a big win for SuperMassive, but with their jungler falling down, AHaHaCiK and the rest of the Unicorns are going to be able to pick up their second Drake of the game.
Infernal Dragon means we'll have either Ocean or Cloud. Let's have a look. Oh, it's Mountain. Not Cloud. Ocean or Mountain is what
there you go.
We had a Cloud to start us off, yep. So Mountain Soul is the key here. And if you're SuperMassive, actually quite like that. Nomanz chasing with
He can just ult out of there, man. Or he can ult and turn it on you because KaKAO is sprinting towards you.
Smash. Maybe just didn't want to turn it. Didn't want to overstep. Wasn't quite sure where the rest of the Unicorns were.
Look, Nomanz just got to play a game where he reached level 18 full build Kassadin, so he's feeling a little cocky. Yep. We're going to give him that, and this play is exactly that too with the TP coming around, but he realizes, oh wait, I'm just a Vayne. I don't have a QSS or anything, so I'm going to get instantly blown up. Loses both the flash and the cleanse off that play. That's pretty rough right there. I think KaKAO ends up getting sniped off on the top end of the fight, but this is what SuperMassive need. They need to take fights on their terms. And with a numbers advantage, it's definitely going to give them a better look because neither Gadget or AHaHaCiK were actually in the area.
Gadget actually going straight towards armor penetration for his second item here. Lord Dominic's regards.
Wow.
Upgraded Last Whisper. And I can understand why you're doing it because you look at the mid lane, you say, well, he's going Dead Man's Plate, he's got Ninja Tabi, and he's got a cloth armor. In the top lane, Sunfire Cape, Bramble Vest, and the Ninja Tabi complete as well.
It does make, like, I do understand the reasoning behind it, especially with, like, the perma-stacking HP on the Sion. Like, the HP cut down is going to mean a lot, especially later on we get into this game. I hope he's rocking the cut down, but that's going to make the Infinity Edge feel a little bit worse. Yep. Of course, with only 25% crit chance, you don't really get full value out of the item, whereas Zeitnot is going to be working in towards 50 very, very soon with the crit cloak already finished off. Unicorns still have control over the map, but SuperMassive are setting up a play towards the top side. They have really strong engage options. If they can get behind Gadget, it'll be big.
Does have flash and the showstopper. Could look for a catch, but I'm not quite able to find it right now. And you can see, like, gold is being funneled into the key targets for the Unicorn. SuperMassive also have that gold on their carries. Like, Bolulu's in a good spot, 2-0-1 on this set. Infinity Edge complete on Zeitnot. Like, this Caitlyn will scale. She will be very strong, and she will have a front line to protect her, which is the important thing here for the for SuperMassive. Bolulu goes in with the face breaker. Gadget used the cleanse. Santa's the target, though, as he flashes underneath the turret and manages just to escape.
Was just informed Jhin doesn't have the cut down, so unfortunate there, because again, Sion is going to get some insane HP numbers later on in the game, just stacking up that passive permanently on his W for that bonus HP. For the time being, ultimate drops in mid.
SnowFlower caught out, curtain call coming out. Zeitnot can't tank too many of these shots. One more is enough!
Boom! No! 50% HP, Gadget shuts down Zeitnot, and that's a tilter.
I mean, I said it as it was happening. I was like, well, Zeitnot can't tank too many of these. Perhaps you don't expect the final shot to do more, but Lord Dominic's regards and the Infinity Edge enough from Gadget just to destroy Zeitnot and stop him from catching those waves and stop him from getting extra gold for just a couple of minutes. It's a 4,500 gold lead for the Unicorns of Love, and Ender, it is looking like they are going to make groups.
Unicorns of Love are in a great position for the time being, and the way they played from the round robin stage to now in this best of 5, they're looking quite convincing. This is a team you can get excited for. Yep. The flexibility we've mentioned, the scrappiness of their play. Sure, sometimes it can come to bite them, but all day long, it has been absolutely perfect from the Unicorns, beating SuperMassive in a lot of these skirmishes around the river. But SuperMassive are going to bring one their way one more time. They do not want to give up the third Drake that spawns in a minute and a half. And while Nomanz is up in the top side, SuperMassive can take control of the river.
It's just been such a hard grind for SuperMassive as well. Like, you look at it, 2-2 in their group. Struggled against Mad Lions yesterday, but in the end were able to take the win against a top 4 region team. And now to have to play Unicorns, probably one of the best teams in play. It's like Unicorns and Liquid and PSG, I'd be up there. And obviously we didn't get to see them all play against each other, so their relative strength is unknown. But for SuperMassive, it currently feels like they need to do something absolutely special, absolutely sublime to find the win here. They have the tools in their kit. They've got the Sion, they've got the Sett, they've got this front line. They have Zeitnot on a carry.
Don't show it again.
This is what can happen to you.
Get the cinematic angle here, shooting fire right down bullseye, destroys the Caitlyn, and
only one sniper allowed on the Rift.
yep, that's going to be in Zeitnot's mind as we head into this Dragon. 20 seconds away, and Nomanz, he just purchased a Ginsu's Rage Blade. He's back onto the fight. This will shred through the front line of SuperMassive. They have to find a way to deal with him. Bolulu on a flank, picking him up. There's no QSS for the back line of Nomanz or Gadget, or simply the knockups coming through from Armut.
And the question becomes for SuperMassive, do you give this one up? Like, it's not Soul. You can not fight if you want to, but then you force yourself into a position where you have to fight the next one. Perhaps if you can find a pick, you can do something.
They're going to go for it. Right now, Bolulu is inside of the base. He wants a TP, but the Dragon's going down fast.
Dragon's already gone. It's taken out. The TP's coming in, and now SuperMassive will look to force the fight. Bolulu coming in from the backside, trying to get on his Gadget. Uses the showstopper, pulls him back. The unstoppable onslaught from the top side of the fight as well, but you can see Nomanz still alive, cleanses away, and KaKAO's going to be the first to fall. Second goes SnowFlower, and this should be a whitewash for the Unicorns. Nomanz just dodging around as much as he can. The curtain's open, and the curtain's shut right in the face of SuperMassive.
SuperMassive get beat in the river once again. This time it's a late engage, and Unicorns punish them. Nomanz had to use everything to dodge around there and get the damage done, but it's Unicorns all day long.
Just wasn't expecting the amount of damage that comes out from 280 carries at this point in the game. Baron next on the menu for the Unicorns of Love. 23 minutes in, they'll secure this with ease. And with a 7,000 gold lead as the Baron goes down, the Unicorns of Love are well in control of this game and of this series.
Wait for AHaHaCiK to be there to be able to pick up the buff as well. It is looking very, very good for the Unicorns. Let's check this out one more time in our Axe replay. Nomanz, this is the guy you have to keep your eye on. At the start, actually, let's check out Gadget, because he gets suplexed by Bolulu, but there's no follow-up here. You know, the ultimate for Armut doesn't quite connect. Gadget is able to flash on out of that play, and then Armut does nothing for the rest of the fight. Then you have Nomanz on the other side. He's the one dishing out the consistent damage, so neither backliner was actually taken out. And that's the only possible way that SuperMassive will ever win a fight. You must kill Nomanz and Gadget, but these players refuse to fall.
And the issue for Zeitnot is he's met with an Unbreakable. He's met with a wall from Braum, and then on top of that, Boss is on top of him, cycloning him, and it's like, well,
what can you do?
If you're diving the backline, you can't peel for me. And that's the issue. Like, you can't rely on only the Leona to peel for you, but you also need the Sion and the Sett diving into that backline to try and catch out the Vayne or the Jhin.
Unicorns of Love have split into 3 lanes to push top and bot. Nomanz can't teleport into the fight, so SuperMassive are looking to force a fight, but there's still these wards carrying over from the last fight around the Dragon Pit. So not only do they not find the fight, they lose their bot lane inner tower. They're going to lose their top lane inner tower, and the inhibitors are now under siege, and SuperMassive still have yet to reset.
Only Armut's gone back. Unicorns of Love keep 2 in the mid lane just to try and distract and dissuade SuperMassive. But in the top lane is Nomanz and AHaHaCiK. They will push in for that inhibitor tower. In the bot lane, it's Boss. We've already seen him 1v1 Armut once before. He doesn't need to do that now because Nomanz and AHaHaCiK are opening up the
It's getting so desperate. So SuperMassive, Bolulu is still looking for the fight, but they're losing their inhibitor.
He's going for the Gadget. There's still a cleanse on this Jhin. He's going to go down before he can even get it, but that is an inhibitor now in the top lane down, and there are minions pushing in. Unicorns of Love might actually just look to kill Armut here as they come down towards the bottom lane. Those minions not quite in tower range as Nomanz gets caught up with the decimating smash, and perhaps is a little greedy from the Unicorns. They see the hole coming in from the side. Hits Boss. AHaHaCiK able to kill KaKAO before he goes down. Zeitnot hits him with a final headshot. Nomanz stepping forward once again, and now the Unicorns will retreat. However, Bolulu has a flank position. SnowFlower goes in. A beautiful solar flare. Zenith Blade combo, and SuperMassive are trying to say they're not done yet. Zeitnot still alive on the back line, somehow surviving life, stealing from the minions. Santa's the only target left alive for Unicorns of Love, and SnowFlower and Bolulu will look to chase him down.
With their backs against the wall, SuperMassive finding engage. It is SnowFlower landing the insane combo and now catching out Santos. They're going to be able to finish him off for 5 total kills. They are still in this one. It is a long way away, and Santos is able to escape.
Actually, super important because he's still got it's only 20 seconds. It's only I checked the timer as I said it. Only 20 seconds left.
He got the 4-second recall off.
He got the 4-second recall. Big win. Super important, really good. And we'll see this because this felt like Nomanz and AHaHaCiK just greedily pathing this way.
Yeah, I mean, KaKAO tries to go in here and unfortunately gets traded, but it still will be answered back by Zeitnot. Now, all of a sudden, watch this play from SnowFlower. It is absolutely sick. He lands the N, the R, because he knows that the Vayne is going to try to tumble into it. Very nicely done to find a kill and find some big shutdowns. The shutdowns are absolutely huge for SuperMassive. Again, down 7,000 gold, there's a Mountain Soul in 50 seconds, but they are hanging on by just a thread.
But what a motivation boost that must be for SuperMassive as well. That fight, sometimes that's what you need to get your heckles up, to get yourself back in the mood for a Barney. Now guys, remember you should be sure to stick around for World's cooldown after the last game, where we'll also have the group draw show. Day 1 of the group stage is Saturday. Game 1 starts at 10 a.m. CST as the fight begins. Nomanz cleanses away on the backline, but look at this, the showstopper's going to get Bolulu on towards Santos. Now Boss trying to do what he can. Bolulu's almost fallen, gets stunned up. The haymaker's not enough. The curtain's open as Jhin tries to rattle off those shots. SnowFlower the first target, he's down. It's a double, but Nomanz, they're looking for more. Nomanz still alive, still healthy, so is Gadget. And now they have to try and catch out that Vayne. KaKAO stepping forward, Zeitnot trying to get the headshots in whenever he can, but Boss still tanky enough to survive. Nomanz goes down low, half HP. Now they turn back towards the Mountain Dragon. Unicorns of Love are looking for the soul point.
They win yet another fight. The Unicorns of Masters are fighting around these objectives. That is going to be the Mountain Soul, and SuperMassive, again, just barely survive out of the back of that play, but Unicorns have everything they need to move on to the groups.
Just not quite enough damage at times in this fight. We saw, Nomanz tumbles forward, Zeitnot hits him with a couple of headshots, and then he just gets out, escapes off towards the bottom, but here comes the TP as SuperMassive are not done yet. Nomanz has the shield, double TP, Armut and Bolulu on the chase. There is a blast cone, but you are blasted if you get there. Nomanz shut down by Zeitnot.
Yeah, they're frantically pinging. They know there are super minions in their top lane. They're gonna have to reset and find those, but it's the shutdown onto the Caitlyn. You need all your gold on the Caitlyn. She's the only one that's doing damage at this point outside of the base values of all your tanks. KaKAO's trying his best, but a 75% crit chance, 3 items on the Caitlyn. Maybe, just maybe, she has enough, but she has to play these fights absolutely flawlessly.
Have another look at this fight, because you can see they all in onto Armut, but this TP coming in behind is so strong. So
yeah, it's just so hard for them, as Bolulu gets slammed up against the wall. The terrain means that SuperMassive, without the damage, can't fully commit into that, with the threat of Boss diving into the back line. So 3 members of SuperMassive do end up escaping, I do believe, and even the block there at the end means no damage can be retaliated from Zeitnot. 25 seconds away from the Baron buff. This is going to be the last stand for SuperMassive.
You have to feel they've only lost 1 inhibitor tower. Perhaps they could defend against another Baron buff, but it would be such a monumental task, such a Herculean task for SuperMassive to get back in this game. QSS now complete on Nomanz.
That's huge.
Not up for him, but that means he's got double escapes in the next fight.
Because every fight Nomanz gotten punished, it's because of the giant suplex from Bolulu. Yep. He's getting those flanks off, and now he can't use that ultimate on the Vayne. There's no teleports onto these flankers for SuperMassive, so they actually have to take the front-to-back fight. And if that's the case, how do you leech Nomanz or Gadget? It is so damn hard.
Nomanz put to sleep.
Maybe they've done it.
Try and put a trap underneath him. Solar Flare. Oh, QSS. Not used. Solar Flare still available. Front to back is happening. A SuperMassive retreat back through their red side jungle. Unicorns of Love healed up. And AHaHaCiK gives Santos a helping hand and brings him back to full HP.
Without the sleep, I don't know if SuperMassive want to stick around and fight this. They're waiting for that cooldown to return, but that's a longer cooldown. And as the poke lands from an AHaHaCiK, that's going to make it harder and harder for them to reclaim territory inside of the jungle. There's so many wards all over the place. It is so hard for SuperMassive to approach.
Inhib in the top lane has just respawned. No super minions pushing in makes it easier for SuperMassive to fight. The Unicorns of Love are eager to take this battle. Boss down towards the bottom side, trying to split his way onto Zeitnot. The curtain's open as they look for the shots, but Bolulu gets onto the back line, and Boss might be the first to fall. The stopwatch is going to keep him alive for the moment. Bolulu with the haymaker, the Baron goes down, and Unicorns of Love are the ones to secure it. Unicorns now stepping forward. Nomanz tumbling around the fight like a madman to help AHaHaCiK take down 1, and now the chase is really on. SnowFlower's going to be engaged, but it's all on Zeitnot. Use that rune hands, use those headshots. He gets 1, and immediately he's dived upon. The Unicorns of Love are going to groups.
The Unicorns of Love are going to take the LCL back to the group stage here at the World Championship. AHaHaCiK and Nomanz leading the charge into the base. They take down SuperMassive 3-0.
1 series away in 2015, 1 series away in 2016, 1 game away in 2019. But for the first time ever, Unicorns are going to groups.
They waited long enough, Medic. They waited long enough, and I couldn't think of a better squad to deserve to make it to the group stage. This team is inventive. They've got the new picks. They play the team fights. They're scrappy. They don't let you get away with anything. And above everything, they're just a blast to watch.
Incredibly fun series to watch today. Their creativeness in draft astounding, but of course you have to look at the other side of the coin. You have to look at the team that took down a top 4 region yesterday. SuperMassive, commiserations, of course, to all of the Turkish fans and to SuperMassive themselves. They put up a fight, but on the day, Unicorns were just that little bit better.
They put up a super hard fight yesterday, and of course today it's a grueling schedule coming back after playing a full 5 games. They should be proud of what they were able to do here, but on the day, it was Unicorns of Love that were the stronger team. And now we get to look forward to what this team can do in the group stage. You know, it's been a crazy play-ins. We've seen upsets. We saw Mad Lions falling down to SuperMassive. We've seen teams get some upsets and, you know, other teams start to fall down. And now I'm excited to see what is the strength level of our play-ins teams relative to some of the best in the world.
Oh, it's just super exciting. Now that playing stage is over, though, Pick'em powered by Alienware will be starting soon. In addition to the usual perfect pick prize of every ultimate skin, fans who guess every matchup correctly will take home an exclusive Alienware Aurora battle station, the exact setup that's actually being used on stage at Worlds. Make your group stage picks starting today at 4 p.m. PT at lolesports.com/Pick'em. But for now, we're stepping away, and when we return, the analysts will weigh in on the conclusion of that series. Don't go anywhere.
You missed it!
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. The Unicorns of Love have just secured the last spot in the group stage of Worlds 2020 and have redeemed themselves after the exits from previous years. Was it 4? I can't say third time's the charm. I think it was the fourth. Yeah, so the fourth time they get it across the line, and it's a huge win for the LCL region.
Yeah, and across so many lineups, and obviously as pundits of the LEC, formerly the EULCS, just big congrats to Sheepy. This is a man who's been working so hard for so long, who has made so many good rosters, so many solid teams. The UOL here, we're always contesting the top, and it seems like in the LCL they're doing even better. Obviously, completely new roster with completely new players, but yeah, congrats to Sheepy, congrats to the team, congrats to the LCL. That was some fantastic League of Legends. They smacked SuperMassive around. And they didn't just smack them, they like slam dunked them in the end with the Vayne mid. We were talking about like, what is it going to be? We thought like Darius is pretty disrespectful. Yeah. Vayne is, if you want a solo queue montage pick. Yeah, I mean, Vayne's, Kassadin, Ziggs, I mean, they just threw out everything at them and then they didn't have a response. I think UOL just adapted better. They had better answers to everything that SuperMassive threw, and SuperMassive couldn't really find a way to shut them down. No, absolutely. And as we have them on screen as well, you know, UOL, a lot of people have actually suggesting they expect some damage heading into the groups from this roster. Do you have some expectations now set after seeing their diversity in their mid lane champion pools, as well as seeing the individuals that they're capable of pound for pound taking down on the way here? It's hard to say because they draft losing lanes sometimes to basically have better team fights, and then they don't really get punished that much in these losing lanes, like you saw the Kassadin, for example. So I'm not too sure. I think going into the group stage, their playstyle is so different that I think they'll catch lots of teams off guard. So in a best of one, I think this team is in their comfort zone. So yeah, I think it's quite a dangerous team to have in your group. Even though it may not look like it, I think they should still be afraid of it. Yeah, absolutely. Like you're saying, I think some of their more creative options will start to shrink and fall away as the quality of laners they play against increases. But at the same time, I think this is a team that, yeah, absolutely can do some damage. We've seen from the LCL before, creativity was a huge boon for Albus Nox Luna back in 2016. Huge boon for us, too, in the LEC when we were able to 3-0 them in quarterfinals. So we're just going to have to see what happens here with UOL. But yeah, I think they take at least one game, and I certainly don't think that they're going to be the smaller region teams of Worlds past, where you're worrying about the kaboom factor. Yeah. I think these guys are a real threat. Yeah, and I'll tell you what else is going to really tickle your pickle at home is the groups. Let me bring them up, because take a look at this. It's all done. It's all wrapped up, and you can breathe it in. We have got your groups for Worlds 2020, and this is where I turn to the two brainiacs here on the sofa and say, guys, what do you make of that? Fun fact was LGD Gaming can only go to one group, but our graphics team obviously has just decided to fill that one in. I think we still go through with the rest of the draw. Maybe they get drawn anyway. But yes, LGD can only go there. And the fact that we did not auto-seed through a lot of the, I'm not going to say expected favorites, but the regions with multiple seeds, means that a lot more of the group is open. When we thought that it was going to be, Team Liquid going through, Mad Lions going through, everything like that. Everything was decided before we got here, but now it's all been shaken up. Yeah, so we have confirmed LGD will be in Group C. And a reminder, Team Liquid cannot go with FlyQuest and TSM, and PSG Talon and Machi have to be in different groups. So that's why you're seeing some of those buys or TBDs not being filled in already. Man, TL, oh, Group A or Group B, what's it going to be? If it's Group B, then that sucks. Rogue JD down 1. +1. Yeah, we're gonna watch as NA and EU like hold hands in the darkness. Hold me close. It's like watching Alien. He's just Sigourney Weaver just down there with a child, just like, please, not like this. Legit. And that's just one of the groups. Who is the bridesmaid to the Group B? Like, who is the second in terms of intimidation, or is it really just this? Okay, look at that. That's enough. The fact that you didn't have anything on the tip of your tongue. It's the group of death. It's the group of death. Don't want to go there. There's always one. There's always one. We do have to crown our Oppo player of the series, though, and who else other than Nomanz from that Unicorns of Love roster, who will be slotted into one of those TBD spots you see on your screens, but he was tearing it up. Vayne, Kassadin, anything he fancies. I mean, the Kassadin was disgusting. We talked about the draft from the side of SuperMassive that set him up to play it, but when he was set up to do so, he absolutely delivered. Game 1 was the Twitch show, no doubt, but his Zoe put up fantastic numbers, and Game 3, the Vayne, I mean, KaKAO, you already said, we've already talked about it. It was good in the context of the draft, it was downright disrespectful, and it was still a beautiful thing to watch. Yeah, and just the Kassadin pick in general, this was a blind pick, Kassadin. He only saw Lillia and just went, well, this guy, I know this guy. He's not going to pick an AD mid. He's not going to punish me for picking this. Just pick me Kassadin. All I need is 2 bans. And you're blind picking this champion in a best of 5 for a Worlds group qualifier. It's like, okay, props to you. And then the next game you go Vayne. It's like, okay, just let him through. Yeah, I talked about putting something on the desk. I think Nomanz definitely did it in that third draft. Love that, and love seeing Unicorns of Love pick that one up. But we are wrapping this one up. This is my final desk segment of Worlds. Thank you for having me. we only got one time together?
Yeah,
I don't
it
get
has
more
been,
machine time?
We've had a real, like, kind of a flyby time.
Yeah, this is, I'm very sad about that.
No, but Kadriel, thank you for being
Thank you for
holding
coming
my
as
hand
well.
through all of this. It's
Dude,
been
I hope you learned so much League of Legends. It looks like you have.
Honestly, we spend the whole group, the whole green room. I'm just sitting there learning the video game.
You're
Just
like, is this champion still OP?
Yeah.
Does this champion still have this? And the kid, we're like, no, not anymore.
no. Yeah, I
Dude,
think that was
you're ready to take over solo queue. I know you are.
I mean, I learned that
He's going to be on the Rift.
Dude, Kassadin has a skin now where he doesn't just look like an intimidating triangle pyramid. It's actually kind of cool, you know? Dude, he's like,
we've
what?
come
He used
so
to be like
far.
one polygon, I swear. It's just a single triangle bouncing around the rift. But I'm glad it's changed, and so have I. Perhaps not. Either way, thank you for having me, and of course to you guys as well. That does it for us here. But we'll be back with Worlds Cooldown and the Groups Draw Show right after this short break. See ya.
Groupie. Run.